Hello, hello. I'm Dr. Paula Fellingham, and I'm standing in for Andrea Cox. Our sweet friend was ill, and so I said, I'll be happy to fill in because I have a message that I'm hoping you'll love. It's called Women Celebrating Life, Aging and Happy, Aging Happily. So, and this is especially for women who are maybe a little concerned about aging. So let me start out by saying that I love women. I absolutely love women. I love that we're bonded because of what our bodies go through and because of our understanding of life and our ability to love so deeply. And yes, you know, women are so much alike, especially women 50 and older. And those who are under 50, I welcome you to listen because I'd love to have you have this attitude about aging when you are, I'm going to hit mute all, when you are, there we go, to the age where you start worrying about aging. So I believe that women 50 and older are strongly bonded with each other. I know we are because we share the same history and because we're aging together. You know, the absolute truth is that none of us like to age. We don't think, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I'm getting older. But the cool thing is we understand each other so much. And you know what? We lose things as we age. You know we do. We lose our smooth skin, our good eyesight, our strong muscles, and big chunks of our memory. But what we've gained, my friends, is significantly more important. We've gained wisdom and empathy and perspective, which is so important. And most importantly, we have learned how to deeply love. And we're more compassionate usually than we were when we were younger. You know, we can't run as fast. We can't jump as high, but we appreciate more and we usually worry less. We've learned that we just aren't as concerned about what other people think or how much money we're going to make. And that gives us freedom to do what we really want to do and to go where we've always wanted to go. There are a lot of us now in this season of life. There are about 50 million American women alone, not even the millions and millions out in the world. And we share the same memories of Sinatra and Elvis and the Beatles. Together, we've transitioned from typewriters to computers. And my son, just a couple of years ago, he said, what is that when he saw a typewriter? And I said, it's like a computer that you don't have to plug in. I didn't really, that wasn't a very good explanation, but he's like, cool. And then we figured out what a typewriter was for him. But I was actually so surprised that he didn't even know what a typewriter was, when that was what we grew up with. And some of us remember Sheriff John. Sesame Street became what Sheriff John moved into Sesame Street, and pedal pushers became capris. So women who are 50 and older, and I just made that as a mark, and it could be a little younger than that, a little older than that, but we share the same fears and very similar dreams. We're the ones who worry about our children and our parents at the same time. We wonder about Botox and about Social Security checks, and we're all shocked by how much time has gone by. And I tell women worldwide, how is it that the days are long? Sometimes you can't even remember when you got up that morning, but the years are short. Days are long, but years are short. And I look in the mirror and I'm like, wow, I'm turning into my mother. And it's always so surprising. And I feel like I stopped at 33 on the inside. The outside kept going. I'm almost 70. And I love where I am in my life. And I want all women to really understand how to age happily. We're going to talk more about that. So we face this new period in our life with a mix of wonderment and, yes, anxiety. So for most women, 50 is when their world starts to look a little different. And at 50, some women regretfully see that they aren't the person that they thought they'd be, and they don't have the life that they expected that they would have. Many of them, as they saw the road ahead, they had expectations for what they had hoped for, what they were pursuing, love and adventure and success and appreciation from a lot of people. And that has eluded a lot of women, or maybe it doesn't look quite as good as it used to. And their disappointment and their frustrations are reflected in spontaneous and premeditated acts that society calls a midlife crisis. Well, you know what I'm talking about, from going back to school to maybe buying a motorcycle or starting a new business or moving to a different country or learning how to ice skate, write the book, play the guitar. This is all happening. Women make significant changes in their lives. But perhaps the most significant change of all is the creation of an entire movement, a new time in the history of the world for women right now. You see, our midlife is very different than our grandmothers. And it's not even our mother's midlife. Theirs was often born of sadness. When 50-year-olds really were over the hill, seeing less of everything, less opportunity, less fulfillment, less fun, less hope. Things have changed dramatically. Thanks to better nutrition, medical advancements, higher incomes, better education, and that's so important, and long experience at juggling many different roles at the same time. Women today have far different expectations for their lives, and they're making their midlife and their older years the very best years of their lives. So, consistent with our history, baby boomer women are now creating a new model as we get older. Why? Because today's women are profoundly different in their attitudes about aging. More and more of us refuse to believe that we're over the hill. No, we believe we're standing on top of the hill with outstretched arms, looking at seeing all the endless possibilities before us. It's true. And we're confident that we have limitless possibilities. We used to say, what if? But now, as we're getting older, we say, why not? So many of us are. So I love that. Such questions come naturally to us baby boomers. We've been setting trends and we've been extending the barriers and lifting that ceiling our whole lives. We're the ones who raised the glass ceiling. We moved out of a secretary's chair into the CEO's chair, out of the station wagon into a sports car. And we explained to our husbands that even if their fathers did not change any diapers, we expected their help. And now the young women today, I'm just amazed at how much young fathers do around the house. And I'm like, yes, this is wonderful. Always at the same time, we must be very careful knowing that many of them come home, and the stay-at-home mom needs to be so careful that, he spent so much time at work and he's like used up like a bar of soap, and then he comes home, and we need to be sensitive to that. This is some of the things that I teach. I've written 4 parenting books, and I know some of the things that work and that don't work in relationships and marriages and with raising our children. So baby boomer women are looking around, and they are observing their peers who are taking risks, developing their talent, having more fun, and believing in themselves much more than their mothers did, right? From attending skill development classes to taking their lives in whole new directions. Women 40 and older are awakening, and there is worldwide a rising and an awakening in the women of the world. It's more fast-moving and far-reaching than anything that's ever happened in history. And many of the women are smack dab in the middle of their midlife, happy as can be. They're excited. They're filling their souls with wonderful things that they're doing, and projects and plans and serving and giving back to humanity. And so there's so many things we can do to fill our cup, because we can give love better. I say this all the time. We can give love better from our overflow. And we need to fill our own cups as women. This is part of what helps us age happily. So look around. Women engaged in these transitional wonderful projects and more education. They're taking the crisis right out of aging. They're enjoying this season in their lives. And it's so true. You see them everywhere. 65-year-old women are traveling together, or maybe a group of 70-year-olds are scrambling over the rocks in the Grand Canyon. A 53-year-old is painting on the side of the road. She just learned to paint. A wife is working at the computer on her children's book or her grandchildren's book and helping illustrate it. There's so many things that we can do right now. We don't look old. Well, some days we look older than other days, but we don't feel old. It's the difference, my friends. Listen carefully to this. It's an attitude. We don't feel old. It's like I said, you know what? I stopped on the inside at 33. My outside kept going. But inside, I'm 33 years old. It's an attitude. It's a choice. It's a perspective that is up to you. It's how do you deal with aging? And when I hear women saying, oh my gosh, I'm turning 40, I say, celebrate. This is the best. You're just starting the best part of your life. And people give 40-year-olds, like black balloons. And I'm like, don't do that. Give them multicolored balloons. And because you should be celebrating turning 40 like never before, and 50, and 60, and 70. Again, these are choices, and you can fill your own cup. All right. So let's go back to that, because truly you can be as energetic and as motivated and as happy as you choose to be. We know this. And this is really a loving reminder, because I know you know this. It's just reminding you. But, we are moving quickly, but just in, excuse me. Oh, there's a sneeze. Excuse me. In older bodies. It's true. But our minds are sharp, and our souls are wise, and our hearts are soft. We're wiser, and we're softer, more compassionate, more loving than we've ever been. And that is something to celebrate, my dear friend. So you can sense it. Those who are getting older, you can sense it, that you're transitioning because you're bolder than you've ever been before. You've waded through life's muck. All right? Is it okay if I call that now? And call it that, because you're more clear on what you want and what you don't want. You know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And that's wonderful. And it only happens because of age. I had a sweet girl come to me. She was 24 years old. And she said, I want to be on the Women's Information Network. And that's one of my entities, women'sinformationnetwork.com. And she said, I want to be a parenting expert. And I want to, have a show on parenting. And I said, that's a wonderful idea, but honey, you're 24. She says, yeah, but I've got a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they're just perfectly adjusted. They're such happy little children. And I said, honey, when those that 1-year-old are 22 and 21, and they've gone through their teenage years, and they are highly functional and loving and compassionate, obedient, respectful, come back to me. But right now, what is another thing that you love? She goes, oh, I love physical fitness. I want to help women lose weight too. I said, do that, because you could do that, but it's not quite time for you to be a parenting expert. She simply didn't have the experience. You don't know what you don't know when you're 24. You're learning, and I applaud those who are 24, who are reading and learning and improving and finding mentors and really working on that. But the wonderful thing is that you have so much wonderful life ahead to learn more and gain experience that will be for your good. So you know what? Things that when you're older, things that you've just tolerated, they just have become intolerable for you now. And you don't know what lies ahead, but you're ready to figure it out. So of course we feel guilty about what we didn't do. And, all of us do, of course. And things that we wish we could have done better. But we're women. We all do this. We regret a bunch of decisions from the past, and in quiet moments, we even look over our shoulders and wish for our youth again. It's true. But I teach women all over the world, get past the past. Let go of the past. Focus on the present, and then be excited about the future. But it's so important that we get past the past. Too many women, even our young women, are looking in the rearview mirror instead of looking forward. And they're often looking at mirrors, seeing their own needs instead of looking through windows, seeing the needs of others. But that takes me to a whole nother presentation. So most of us agree that we don't want to go back and do it all again. Very rare is the woman who says, yep, I want to be 20 again. No, we don't. Because what we want to do is stand on the foundation of everything we've learned, our experiences, and everything that we've become, and use it all to create a life that is deeply fulfilling and purposeful and overflowing with joy and happiness. Yes, to have your life overflowing with joy, knowing you are fulfilling your purpose, that you have a life mission that you are fulfilling. My mission is to strengthen women and families worldwide through education, enlightenment, entrepreneurship, in an effort to eradicate illiteracy, poverty, and hunger, and to increase the level of love, prosperity, and peace on earth. I invite you to be clear about your mission. And when I strengthen women and families, that begins with my own family. And of course, I shouldn't even have to say that. That's almost it. It's just a given. But how important it is to look through windows, seeing the needs of others, because service is a key to joyful living. And that's another reason that it's so fun to be older, because you have more time for that. And as a young mother, of course, you're serving 24/7. I have 8 children, 24 grandchildren. I remember what it was like to have those very long, long days. But as I look back, man, those years were short. So hold those children closely. So you know what? One 68-year-old woman, she moaned and she said, Dr. Paula, I've done all the wrong things. I've made so many mistakes. I think my big moment came and went. She said, I wasted a lot of time. I wasted decades. And most of us aren't raised to believe that, if we're going to be highly successful at something, most of us were raised to think that if we were going to be highly successful at something, we had to do it when we were young. And I said to that woman, don't even think those thoughts. Start today. Because she was in her 60s. And I said, start today. The statistics are, and you probably know this, that women are living way into their 90s. This is the norm now. And it's being extended. And there's so many women living into their hundreds. And so start wherever you are and just celebrate life, celebrate every moment, and take every opportunity to live life fully, to reach out eagerly and without fear for new and richer experiences. All right. So people think, well, I had to have started that way when I was young, and it's just not true. Start today. Perhaps when life expectancy was shorter, that was true, when they were living just into their 40s, but it's certainly not true today. The fact is that your first 40 years of experience, first 50 years of experience, all your experiences, good and bad, are essential for creating your new dreams. It's true. You're better today than you've ever been before because you know what works and what doesn't work for you, as I said before. So the truth is, my friends, nothing is wasted. Nothing. No experience you've had is wasted. It's true. Everything that's happened is in your life can be for your good if that's your attitude and you learn life lessons from everything, from the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's true. So I love this gal. She wrote this book called It's Only Too Late If You Don't Start Now. Barbara Sher, S-H-E-R. And she wrote some wonderful books. Here's a quote. She said, you can experience midlife as a time of immense opportunity, as a time of growth and transformation, as a time to be celebrated. She said, by the sheer magnitude of our numbers, we are inventing the new middle age. 50 million women of the baby boomer generation are going to reverse the belief that midlife is a dead end, a time of loss, of decline. Barbara agreed with me when she said the opposite is true. Midlife is a time of rebirth. As we embrace this rite of passage, she said, not only will we shape the second half of our own lives, but we will set an example for the generations to come. Close quote. Did you love that? Your attitude about aging is being learned by your children. Albert Schweitzer is the one who said there are only 3 ways to teach a child. The first is by example, the second is by example, and the third is by example. The way you talk about getting older, oh, I hate my birthdays. I love birthdays. And it's all an attitude. But you are teaching your children whether to celebrate or whether to be afraid of, or however you, what do you want your children to learn about aging, about getting older, about learning new things, about trying new experiences, about reaching out eagerly and without fear for new and richer experiences? We want our children to learn this. So we need to exemplify it. We need to do this in our own lives, because why? They're watching. They're watching very carefully and closely. So I don't know about you, but I've actually noticed that we women who are older, we actually get a little dangerous during these times in our lives, because we can kind of no longer keep the lid on ourselves. One of the blessings of midlife is that we're really not willing to silence ourselves or to comply with others or to worry too much about their opinion of us. We now feel the necessity to voice the feelings in our hearts. The need now, my friends, is to be authentic. Yes, whatever we've silenced should be voiced. Whatever we've set aside should be picked up. Whatever good we have not done should be experienced. We should go do that. So let's look at some amazing statistics. And my husband's a statistician. He's taught at the university for 27 years, statistics. And so I care a lot about research. All of my books, I'm writing my 8th. I need to let you know that my 8th book, I love the title. It's just 2 words. Get it. Get it. What's your it? Go get that. But then also get it. Understand that there are life principles that when you live them, you can be more joyful, you can be more happy, you can be happier, you can be more fulfilled than you've ever been in your life. So don't fear aging, my friend. Don't fear anything except fear itself, right? So let's look at these statistics. According to the Wall Street Journal, every 8 seconds, someone in the United States turns 50. That's right, every 8 seconds, as the baby boomers are all hitting middle age and beyond. So women hold nearly half of all the executive, managerial, and administrative jobs in the United States. Now, this is not true in other nations. And I know we have viewers from other nations, and I wish I had statistics for you, because I'm very global, having been to 30 nations in the last 12 years teaching women. And so I love the women of the world. I love the women of the world. But right now I'm just giving statistics from the US. So women today in the US earn 58% of all college degrees granted and 59% of all master's degrees. And this is from the Women's Research Center in Washington, D.C. So female ownership, you're going to smile at this. Female ownership of motorcycles has risen 34% in the last 5 years. Lots and lots of women are buying motorcycles and riding them. I love this. Women now comprise 40% of the field in Ironman triathlon. That's right. Isn't that amazing? So women control $4 trillion in annual consumer. And that's 3, 6, 9, that's 12 zeros. I had to count up the zeros in the trillion. 4 trillion women control. We are not without resources, my friends. Women buy 2 out of every 3 cars. Does that surprise you? They take 50% of all business trips. They control 51.3% of all the personal wealth in America. They influence, are you hearing this? They influence 95% of all US spending, making up 85% of all consumer buying. These are huge statistics. Did you know this? They initiate 74% of all new business startups in the United States. Women are initiating these wonderful companies that are starting. So let's look at some women who were over 50. So Lauren Bacall, do you know Lauren Bacall? She taught Humphrey Bogart how to whistle. She went back to Broadway at age what? 76. Went back, yes. Gloria Stewart, she almost stole the show in the Titanic. You remember the older woman in the Titanic? She was 87 years old when she played that part in the Titanic. So yeah, Grandma Moses was 76 when she took up what? What did she do? Yeah, painting. Golda Meir was sworn in as Israel's prime minister or premier. Was it the prime minister? I believe that's what it was. But she was 70 years old, is the point. That's amazing. Eleanor Roosevelt's one of my heroes. She said, the purpose of life, after all, is to live it, to taste and experience to the utmost. And then I was quoting her when I said, to reach out eagerly and without fear for new and richer experiences. Close quote. Now, during this season in life, I encourage you to explore new possibilities, to discover new gifts, to develop new talents, and to connect with other women heart to heart. You might even look at womencelebratinglife.com. Womencelebratinglife.com. So stand confidently and declare that you're not in a crisis. You're on a quest because it's time to celebrate. So you can always reach out to me, Paula, at paulafellingham.com. Now, F like Frank. Paula at paulafellingham.com. If you would like to know more about anything that I am sharing today and ask any questions, I'd be happy to email you back and become your friend. Connect heart to heart, what I just talked about. So I have been blessed to own the URL International Women's Day for many, many years. And the way that I was able to put on the largest gathering of women on International Women's Day at the 100th anniversary, we put on 377 live events in 152 countries over a 3-day period for International Women's Day International Women's Day started in 1911. In 2011, 100 years later, is when we put on these events. The reason I mention this is because we did it all through collaboration. And sometimes I've been told, Paula, yeah, collaboration's like your middle name. You should be called Paula Collaboration Fellingham. Because this is how I'm able to start the Women of the Middle East Network, like I did last month in Israel, and go to Morocco and work with so many hundreds and even hopefully thousands of women there in next month in Morocco. And in India, I was able to speak to 18,000 women with the Brahma Kumaris, who are dear friends of mine. And how do we do this? It's all through collaboration. So I wanted to talk to you about collaboration. This is the second part of my presentation. And this particular presentation that I'm going to share with you has been it's been published in many, many magazines, and I'm so honored to be able to say that. And I'm thrilled about it because I want people to understand the power of collaboration. And it truly is the key to progress in the 21st century, is my belief. And so the name of the presentation was actually the model that works in the 21st century. So to best address the social and the economic and the political challenges that we have right now, and the environmental challenges, I believe that humanity needs to implement caring economics and the partnership model. It's a partnership when you collaborate, right? in the 21st century if we're to move away from poverty and war and towards prosperity and peace. So, caring economics, this wonderful, wonderful collaboration model, has as its highest priority what? The caring for people. Yes, it lies at the heart of the partnership model, which focuses on what? Mutually beneficial relationships. And this is the key. We call them so many times here win-win. And I actually own thewinwin.com that we're going to be launching pretty soon. But I love that we understand this principle of collaboration. And in this presentation, I want you to take it to a whole different level as you understand this. So what has the world been using up to this point? The dominance model. The dominance model is what has been the norm throughout the entire world. It's top-down control, like religion over religion, government over government, man over woman, woman over man. It's any top-down control. It's control. This is the dominance, domineering, right? But its opposite is the partnership model, creating those mutually beneficial win-wins, right? So this is healthy, very healthy. The first is based on the need to dominate, the dominance model, and the second is based on the ability to trust and collaborate with other people. Now, historically, why has it used the dominance model? Why? Because power and riches usually go to those who dominate, whereas trusting partners are generally open, they're vulnerable, and they risk being dominated by their partners, by the person that they're dealing with, right? And so that's why we have not had the collaboration model as the model throughout the centuries. But now more and more people are living wide awake and they're understanding that the collaboration model is way better. So since the domination model is top down, like nation over nation, then it's consistent throughout history. And those of us living in the 21st century can easily look back and see that this model is broken. This model doesn't work. This model creates war. Yeah. And so those who understand and practice the model of collaboration, are going to surge forward. They're going to be able to progress. Whereas in the past, when you're just dominated by others, how much progress can there be? And so imagine how fast we'll be able to progress when we are able to understand this. So my dear friends, I have just a minute more, and I want to encourage you then, and I will give this to Momni to post so that you can read this later. And I first talked about this wonderful aging happily, and then I went into the key to happiness and success and progress in the 21st century is the collaboration model. And it will be on momni.com. You'll be able to download this. And, I leave you my love. I want to leave you with a quote. It's my favorite quote by Mother Teresa, my hero. She said, "Spread love wherever you go. First of all, in your own home, give love to your husband, your wife, your children, your next door neighbor." Now listen carefully. "Let no one ever come to you without leaving better and happier. Be the living expression of God's kindness. Kindness in your face, kindness in your smile, kindness in your warm greeting." Thank you so much, and God bless.